let's talk more about this. Glenn Gerstell is a senior advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies and the former chief lawyer for the National Security Agency, and he joins me now from Washington. Thank you for being with us. First of all, for people who are not very familiar with the term ransomware, how do you know you're the victim? What is the first sign that a business or an organization has been attacked by ransomware criminals?
Very, very simply, when you turn on your computer, you get a message instead of your normal welcome screen. You turn on a message that says, you're not going to get anything further out of this computer because it's been taken over by whatever gang claims to have taken it over, and we're not going to let you get to your computer unless you pay us some money.
Okay, so when that happens, that means a hacker has penetrated the system and is asking for money, usually cryptocurrency, in order to unlock the data. In this particular case here, in this latest big attack, should we be concerned that these attacks are becoming larger and more sophisticated?
Absolutely. We're moving from a situation where these ransomware attacks were one-off events. Someone would send you a suspicious email, maybe you'd click on it and accidentally download something, which would be the ransomware software or malicious software that would infect your computer. So it was sort of a one-off thing. We saw that happen to municipalities several years ago. Evidently, it happened to Colonial Pipelines more recently in the eastern United States, shutting down gas supplies for a couple of days. To this system that we're seeing today, where instead of, so to speak, having the criminals just break into one bank vault at a time, they instead are infecting the software that controls the timing on all the bank vault doors around the country or the world, as the case may be, and springing them open. So this is something that is far broader, far more sophisticated, and is a sign that the problem is going to get much worse before it gets better.
But these are small businesses in some cases that have been targeted. So if you're a small business, a dentist's office, or I don't know, an interior design firm, and you've been locked out of your computer and you get this creepy message, either pay me 1 Bitcoin or you'll be locked out and lose all your customers and your data, what do you do? Do you pay?
Unfortunately, for the small companies, they don't have a very good set of options. They're probably going to have to make payment. Now, in this particular case, as a sign of how big this ransomware attack is, it actually spun out of control of the criminals' hands. They are not able to negotiate with 1,500 victims, which seems to be the indicated number of victims, in different time zones, different languages. They can't negotiate all those ransom payments. So they've just thrown up their hands and said, pay us $50 million or $70 million, depending on some reports, but pay us this money and we'll make it all go away. We'll give everybody a key. Well, of course, if that happens, then your dentist would be able to, if someone did pay that, a bunch of insurance companies or other, then your dentist would be able to unlock his or her computer. But absent that, they're in for a very tough position.
How can't you trace Bitcoin transactions?
We saw the FBI do a terrific job in the Colonial Pipeline situation and trace the payments. I suspect, I don't know exactly how that happened. It's still classified by the US government, but I suspect that the criminals must have made some mistake somewhere along the way that enabled either the spy agencies or the FBI or some combination to learn a little more about the payment and actually grab it back before it was dispersed among the criminals. We're not always going to be that lucky in the future. The fact of the matter is that some of the virtual currencies, Monero and others, are pretty hard to trace, and it's going to require just more than just plain luck. We can't have luck as a strategy here, and I think you've got to assume, for worst case analysis, that the payment in cryptocurrency is going to be successful and we're not going to be able to get the money back. Maybe we will, but we certainly can't count on it.
Right, and Monero is another one of those cryptocurrencies. So if you're a business owner, whether you have a small business or a larger business, how do you protect yourself against this?
So if you're a small business owner, chances are you've outsourced, and hopefully you have outsourced, the IT technology, the ability to make sure your computers are safe and secure to some firm. So make sure that firm is sophisticated, query them, talk to them, make sure they're up to speed, have backups of all your important data. And then finally, most importantly, just like we do in a building, you have fire drills. Well, we should have every company, big or small, a dry cleaner or a defense contractor, should have a full fire drill, an exercise to say, what would happen if 3 minutes from now our computers were turned off all around? How would we function? How would we handle our customers?
All right. And this particular ransomware attack, it's believed originated or operated out of Russia or Eastern Europe. Is Russia turning a blind eye here, do you think?
Well, President Biden met with Vladimir Putin last month and gave him a stern warning that from the U.S. point of view, we weren't going to tolerate Russia's turning a blind eye to cyber criminals within Russia's borders. The reality is we have relatively limited ability to affect Russia's course of action here. Sanctions aren't going to hurt them. There's a limit to what we can do with cyber. We can pound the table on them, but at the end of the day, it's not the only solution. There are other solutions that we need to combine.
All right. Glenn Gerstell, thanks very much
Thank you.
for joining us. Really appreciate it.